and welcome to the White Pew podcast. I am Zarina Mohammed.
My name's Gabrielle de la Puente.
And we're the White Pew, of course. So we've got a chatty one for you today. Very chill. We're doing it laid back because we've been on a little break with like the actual like chatty podcasts where we actually speak to you in proper podcast format. The last one was what, November?
Yeah, November, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We've had quite the 4 months, I think, since then.
Yeah.
It's been...
We always take December off because we need a break from the internet. We've done that for a few years now. But then on January 2nd, I got COVID and it just never left. Now it's long COVID. And to be honest, I wasn't really able to speak properly at all. So that was a good excuse for not being able to do a podcast. But we're able to get there now and we'll just have a catch up. So what have you been doing? What did you do in December when we took our annual break?
Well, so I've got my bullet journal spread open and I will literally tell you day by day what I did. I mean, no, actually not day by day because that'd be tedious, but I'll give you like a rundown. I went on a lot of walks. I read 12 books. I ate a lot of chocolate, which, I don't know, I feel like I don't normally do, but it's Christmas and I fucking love Christmas chocolate. Like, all of a sudden, vegan chocolate takes a little step up. It becomes fancier in December.
This is how long it has been since we've spoken that, like, I can see Easter eggs around me. Like, we're on a different seasonal chocolate at this point.
It's true. I think vegan chocolate is shit apart from event-based vegan chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The day-to-day stuff it's not worth it. I had an eye test.
Good to know.
Can I just no, wait, hold on, because I've got a bugbear. So I had an eye test before the Christmas lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you have your eye test because you need new glasses. I need new glasses. I cannot see, Gabrielle. So I had my eye test, ordered my new glasses, paid for my new glasses, and then lockdown came and the optician I went to is like fancy bougie. They also sell sunglasses. So they shut down with usual shops, like with the normal retail. They shut down. Oakley and Covent Garden have been holding my glasses hostage for the past 4 months. I can't see.
Can you get them now that everything's opened up this week?
Yeah, they emailed me last week to be like, hello, your glasses are here somewhere. But because it's been like 4 months, they don't know where they are. I paid for them. I'm so angry. They've been holding my glasses hostage.
And not to be, too pessimistic, but your prescription might have changed in the past 4 months.
I know. Yeah. I've worried about that.
Anyway, what else did you do in December?
I went to go see the Shiler Berman Christmas lights. That was fun.
At Tate Britain.
And then I reviewed them. Yes. I mean, that was like a less exciting part. But the Shiler lights, great, at Tate Britain.
Do you want to describe what they were for anyone who isn't familiar?
They were kind of like Christmas and Diwali lights is how I'd describe them. Someone did a really kitsch sick on the front of the Tate Britain.
Yeah.
It's just mental. It was like being in a temple, but crazy. I did review, that was my first review of 2021 though, so I wasn't technically all on holiday. What about you? What did you do over December?
I did so much. I started the month by writing a list of like different things I wanted to do. Part social, part video game, part physical as well. And I just achieved so much. I finally pushed myself to be able to run 5Ks, and then I did that all the time. I platinumed Death Stranding, which if you play video games, and in particular if you've got a PlayStation, you'll know how hard that is. It took me about 160 hours, but I did it. I played The Last of Us Part 1 in 2 days. It was fine. I really liked the story. Thought it was a bit too violent for me, and I'm scared to play The Last of Us Part 2 now because I don't want to murder people in a video game. And I played a lot of Hades as well, which is another game, and I did my taxes. So I felt like my December was just a full-on catching up on stuff that people have been recommending I do, and just achieving lots and lots and lots, which I'm really glad about, because I didn't know how much of a turn things were about to take. And I'm glad that I was able to like get all of that checked off before I got sick. And then I got sick.
You said that like, then I got sick.
Sick.
Dab.
I woke up on January 2nd and I had a fever and a cough and I shit myself. And it's really like,
Not literally.
I don't know.
You didn't literally shit yourself.
No, I didn't literally
You
shit
said that
myself.
like
I just
you
like
literally
emotionally.
Shat yourself, like it was a symptom.
Oh, I emotionally shat myself. Like I braced myself because I thought, what the fuck? Like I as a person, I never get sick. I have always just been this like, like this unstoppable force. I don't know how else to describe it. I've always done so much.
Do you know what it is? I think the way I describe it is you're hardy. You're very stoic, I think. And what it is about you is that like I feel it's not that you're immune to everything, but I think you don't let like you don't let these like little like the common cold is not quite frankly a match for you, and you will power through. Fun fact about Gabrielle, she doesn't take paracetamol because she doesn't want to build a tolerance to it.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Oh god, I've taken so much paracetamol this year. Anyway, I felt really bummed out because I didn't know how I'd got it. It's not like I was breaking the rules over Christmas. It's not like I've ever broken the rules. I'm a fucking angel. And I woke up anyway on January 2nd and I wasn't well. And I ordered a home test, postal test to check if it was COVID. And over the course of that first week, I ended up having to do 2 postal tests because they sent me a text basically a few days later and said like they couldn't read the text, like there was something wrong with it. I don't know. My COVID was too powerful for the test, so I had to take a second one. But over the course of the first 7 days, I just got like, I was sort of okay at first. I thought it was just like a cough and a fever and I'll just take some ibuprofen, stop it in its tracks. But by the end of the week, I was so tired. I lost my taste and my smell. I had insane back pain. I've never had back pain before. It was just so uncomfortable. And then the breathing went, and the breathing was like obviously the most scary thing, and it was really like, I don't want to be dramatic. I think I am traumatized by it all.
That's fair.
Like I was in my flat on my own. I remember because it was just when like post Christmas the country was like, oh shit, we need to go back into another lockdown because like 50,000 people are getting positive tests a day, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm one of them. And I was seeing all these like news articles, and maybe I shouldn't have been watching the news, but like looking at videos of people in ICU wards, it would make me just like immediately like upset because I knew now how they felt. Like I knew why they were there, and I could feel it. I could feel like the same choke of it all, and it was just horrible. It was really scary, and even, I don't know, it got to the point where, yeah, I couldn't speak properly because I couldn't breathe enough to speak. And I was like having to, I just naturally realised that the only way I could be comfortable was if I was lying on my front, and with like my head to the side, and then I would alternate which way my head was, because it was just, I say that was the only way I could be comfortable, but that is also just a really uncomfortable way to put your body, like, I don't know, planking forward in your bed. And there was one point where I had to call 111 because I was just so worried about it. And I mean, you could message, I was messaging you, I was messaging friends and family, and everyone was amazing. Everyone was really nice. But it just got to a point where I was like, I need to speak to a doctor because, like, I don't know how bad this is. I don't know if I should still be at home on my own. Called 111, and that was about 2 weeks after first getting sick, so it was quite a way into it. And they were really nice and said, you know, they don't think I'm going to get worse beyond this point. They think this will be the turning point. And they sorted me out with an inhaler. And Michael, my fiance, went to Asda, picked up the inhaler and dropped it off to me. And the inhaler helped a little bit. And I do think that's when I started to like turn around that day. But it's so strange to look back on all of this because I remember him standing and opening the door and obviously staying 2 meters away because I was like full on infectious. And him like, yeah, passing me the inhaler or throwing it or something. And just feeling like, oh my God, I'm trapped in this flat. And so I should be trying to contain it so no one else gets sick. But I'm going crazy and I can't breathe. And I can't even like stand up to make food to eat. And I know I should probably be eating healthy things, but like I just can't stand up long enough to like make healthy food. And the dishes are piling up because I can't clean them. And I didn't shower for like 2-3 weeks. Like I couldn't do anything. I felt grimy. I felt like mentally grimy. Felt just, it was just the worst thing ever. I do think I'm like actually traumatized by it all. And it is so shit that I didn't just then get better. Yeah. It then became long COVID is insane to me.
I think it's fair to be traumatized by that though. Like that is like crazy fucking virus thriller, like apocalyptic. You had that, like, people keep talking about COVID like it's this post-apocalyptic or like apocalyptic moment, and I think so much of that can like slip into aphorism or like cliche, but you had the actual apocalyptic, like fucking like you're like just the world that contains you all of a sudden turned. Like that was that moment for you. It's like completely fair to be traumatized by that. That was traumatizing. Like,
yeah, it is. It's so strange. And I was also thinking at the time, like, you know, I didn't think I was gonna die. And I think I knew then, like, I wasn't gonna need to go to hospital. I was just gonna have to like tough it out. But it was just the sickest I'd ever been, and I just couldn't handle it. And especially like doing all of that on your own was, I don't know, I just can't describe how weird it was and how sad it was. And not even like being able to cry because you can't get enough breath out to cry. It's all so dark. It's so dark.
oh no, I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry as well.
Because it is emotional.
It was so shit. It was so shit. And like, oh my God, I'm actually crying on a podcast. Oh God. I remember at the time reading an article on the BBC that sort of went, I think it went up the week that I got sick, that said people who experience 5 or more symptoms are more likely to have lasting effects. And I remember also reading in that article that it's more likely to affect women in the long run, and it's more likely to affect women over 50. And I was like, I'm 26, I'm fine. But at the same time, I knew I wasn't going to be fine. Like, I remember thinking, nah, this isn't going to end anytime soon. This feels like too deeply bad. So when I had COVID, and I've got a list, I probably can't do this off the top of my head. I've got a list in front of me. When I had COVID, capital letters COVID, there were 9 symptoms: fever, coughing, tiredness, loss of taste, loss of smell, headaches, back pain, chest pain, and shortness of breath. 9 symptoms, right? It's not like they just magically stopped. It just feels like they changed. and they like spread out and got comfortable. So 9 symptoms with COVID became 15 with long COVID. And they sort of go up and down the ranks. And some days one of them is like really center stage. And some days I'll do something and it will trigger 4 of them, four symptoms. So the new symptoms are, like, maybe I should like give a scenario. So this is something that happened IRL. So I live in a flat on my own, and because it's a little flat, there's no like stairs between like where I'm sitting in the living room and the bathroom, so it's fine. This is important for later. But fatigue is a really major symptom of long COVID, and probably one of my top 3 that has been affecting me. And because it's so knackering to like, I just can't really do the life administration you need to keep up with in order to live alone anymore. Like, what are you going to eat this week? How are you going to get the food? How are you going to cook it? And are you going to carry on washing the dishes? Like, that is just so impossible in a way it never was. Like, there have been points, and I know this sounds like absolutely disgusting, but just to get real on the White Pew podcast, where there have been so many dishes and I just can't do it, that I've like had to put them in the shower and like power hose them, which sounds horrible. I rinse them first, so like nothing went anyway. But that's how intense it's gotten. Yeah. I don't have a dishwasher, and it is like at this point it's all accessibility hacks. Whatever fucking works, I'll do it. So because all of that's so difficult, I immediately after getting sick, and when I wasn't infectious anymore, I basically moved into my fiance's parents' house. The issue is that they've got stairs. It's a house. The bathroom's upstairs. So I still can't really taste and smell in the way that I used to. And a long COVID symptom, loss of appetite. Zarina, what's my relationship like with food?
I think out of both of us, it's really unfair that happened to you, because I think,
yes,
like, it's just, you did not deserve that specifically, because like it's just anyone else, I'd be like, oh, whatever, loss of appetite, like loss of taste, I think is just kind of whatever, you just carry on. But you hate wasted meals. Like, that is a thing that you just do not experience.
I hate wasted meals. A wasted meal, for anyone listening, is a wasted meal. It's when you just put something shit together and you eat it and you didn't enjoy it and it didn't really taste good, but you ate it anyway. No, you can't live life having wasted meals. Your life's too short. You've got to have 3 good meals every day that you loved.
But like, that is you saying that. Like, I do not live that way. I have like 3 wasted meals a day. Maybe I have 2 good meals a week. But like, the tedium of like 3 times a day being like, what would I really enjoy? Like, my brain does just not, it just doesn't work like that. I cannot think of 3 good meals on the spot that are like 10 out of 10 that I'm really going to enjoy. But you can. You've got that skill. And so that's why it's really unfair.
I had that skill. I don't have it anymore. So I've eaten, between the fatigue and like brain fog that come with long COVID, I've eaten so many wasted meals in the past few months. It is depressing. But anyway, so I moved in with my into my support bubble's house, because then my fiance could cook instead. So he's been making all this food, and I've also tried to like drink as much water as possible. But when you drink lots of water, you need a wee all the time. Really, none of this is an exaggeration. If I go up the stairs, my heart beats at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Because it beats faster, I breathe faster. Because I can't breathe as deeply anymore, I start to hyperventilate. And that's an issue. It's an issue that I never went to hospital when I had COVID, but I went to hospital in an ambulance because of the stairs one day because of long COVID. I was at my support bubble's house. I'd gone up and down the stairs too many times and I was hyperventilating. And when you do that, it means that your oxygen levels can drop to a dangerous level. And that's what happened to me. So the ambulance had to take me in. Like, that's unbelievable. To have gone from like a December full of 5Ks and enjoying it, and to being worried if I have to go upstairs. I can't put it into words. The other thing that comes with that is if I go up and down the stairs too many times, / even if sometimes I don't do anything at all, this can still happen, I get muscle pain and joint pain that is actually worse than any other symptom on the list, I think, personally. It is so painful. I was saying, it happened to me yesterday, because I stood still in one place for too long. I don't know. That is also something that brings it on. I was saying to Michael on the phone last night, like, it felt like my legs were in the bath. Like, they were so hot. And I was just sitting on the couch. Like, it felt like my legs were on fire. And it sort of feels like growing pains, but also cramp. And sometimes painkillers work, sometimes they don't. A lot of people have recommended magnesium. And honestly, I just haven't noticed the difference with that. I've started taking creatine. I stopped because nothing worked with that. And it's really difficult because it keeps me up at night. Sometimes the leg pain is so bad that I then can't sleep. Sometimes I wake up in the night because it still hurts me. That happened last night. I was awake like at like 5 a.m. because it was my first thought. I was like, oh, I'm awake because my legs are hurting. Sometimes it comes on from inactivity. Sometimes it's too much activity. And it's really difficult because it's only me who can learn how to stabilize that and learn the pattern of it. And I'm just not at that point where I've found the answers to any of it. And I'm like, have I got a chronic illness now? How long is this gonna last? Like, no one knows how long COVID lasts for. No one can entirely say what it is. Some people think it's the immune system that's gone haywire after COVID. Some people think that the infection itself is still present, but like so deeply in your body that like nasal swabs and tests can't pick it up. Like, I don't know. I never want to say I've got a chronic illness because I don't want to put too much weight behind that because, again, I just don't know how permanent it is. And maybe in like a month I'll be completely different. But also, I don't know.
Do you think that's like a hesitancy because you don't want to, like, chronic illness feels big, and like, are you like downplaying your like the things that you're experiencing because like you're like, oh no, it's not that bad. Like, it's not like that. Like, it's not like, oh, let's chill out. Like, I think it is like you're dealing with the same issues of like ability and access and like all of these things are being affected, and I think it is a chronic illness. Like, that's...
Yeah. I think it is a chronic illness. I think yeah. So I should also say I named 15 symptoms. So a lot of them I've already mentioned. There are like, I get pins and needles and dizziness after the stairs as well. I get the pins and needles in my arms, which is weird. Never had that really before. And then something that like I feel like I've not really spoken about too much on the internet, and it's hard to find any research around it because all of this is so new, is what long COVID has done to my periods. It has sent them fucking haywire. They are more painful than they've ever been. There is no regularity whatsoever. And I'm also having the worst PMS I've ever had. I'm really, really not exaggerating. So because of the lack of regularity, I at one point had to take a pregnancy test because I was like, oh, I'm pregnant, but it wasn't. It was just long COVID pretending to be a baby and scaring me. I also less funny than that. There have been like really boxed off singular days where I've felt like, what is the point in life? Like, I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't stop crying. I just felt really, really incredibly low, and I thought, I'm just going to be in pain forever. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point? There's no answer. No one can answer that, so I'm right. And then a few days later, I would come on my period, and I was like, what the fuck? It was PMS all along, but there's no regularity for me to know that that is PMS. It's just so unfair that this is happening. I hate it. I hate all of it. I would not recommend long COVID.
0 out of 10. Would not recommend to a friend.
I hate it. Yeah. And then I had the vaccine. So Liverpool has had like a lot of surplus vaccines because the fucking cosmic scousers aren't getting the vaccine. Zarina's pulling her face. She doesn't know what a cosmic scouser is.
I don't know.
Cosmic scousers are like the sort of neo hippies / I don't know, drink on Loch Lane, and they think that they're sort of like the anti-vaxxers and think that it's all like government control.
Cosmic scouts.
Whatever. There's a lot of surplus in Liverpool, so I got a vaccine and I got Pfizer. I was really grateful to be able to get it. It threw me for a loop. I was so ill for like a solid 7 days after it. And it was sort of like a mini COVID again. So like really all the symptoms kind of crunched into a week, including, again, changes to taste. So I had like metal taste in my mouth for a few days. And I had the vaccine 2 weeks ago today. And my fatigue is like still sort of not up to what it was the day before I got the vaccine, if that makes sense. It's just all of it's crazy. And I keep feeling really self-conscious that like we are so visible on the internet, and I want to talk about these things and I want to tell people about COVID because it's interesting and because I want people to like be safe and to not get it, most importantly. But also because I want to find the other people who've got long COVID and who maybe have found like ways to make the leg pain stop, for example, or I don't know, just some ways to help.
Also to not be alone in it, like.
To not be alone in it. Yeah, but there's something about like the visibility of that I feel, it just keeps making me feel self-conscious because there are days when I can do stuff and there are days when I can't, and I don't want people to think, oh, she's back to normal now, and then to think that, you know, I've lied about any of it, or do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Because it's happened a few times where like something has come out, you know, on someone else's channels or something, like we've recorded something back in November that's just been released and people are like, oh wow, it's Gab back, and I'm like, no, like I think maybe the way that like sick leave is conceptualized is like, oh well, she's doing this now so she should be better, like, oh great, she's back on the mend, and like I'm sure it comes from a well-meaning place, but I don't know, you just need more time. You need to like have time to heal and like, you know, just have a lie down, Gabrielle. Like away from other people being like,
I know,
away from that pressure of other people kind of expecting you to be back. Like you need to just kind of be able to put that aside, and I don't know if that's entirely possible when like it's coming to you through your phone.
Exactly. Like I woke up today and I said to you, okay, let's do the podcast, but there are mornings, there'll probably be like tomorrow morning might be a really bad morning. It's so elastic, and it's so annoying that it's so it like goes up and down in this way. Whenever I've been sick in the past, I just expect this like perfect linear recovery and then full energy and full ability to think. One of the things that has gotten to me the most is, I think, how my thinking has changed through it all, which again I just don't really see people talking about online. And maybe I'm not doing enough research into it all because I've just not got the energy or ability to think about it in that way. Like, I used to have this job as the white pube, and the white pube runs this sort of like whole administrative exercise behind the scenes where we're trying to like negotiate jobs and put those into a calendar, and on top of that we have like the weekly texts that we write. So for me that also means like scheduling in time to play games. On top of that, we also had like a fortnightly podcast that we were recording and then getting transcribed and then uploading. I was also reading texts out loud live on Instagram. Like, there was so much. And then I had another job in my self-employment where I run Output Gallery on my own, which again is like a whole, I had to deliver a whole public program of shows. And then on top of that, life administration, social life, then creative life on top of that. And again, the amount of times I was running around the park and getting really excited about like being able to run for a long time. So there was this like constant mental balance going on of being able to like think about all these things and think about them in a really organized way so that everything functioned. And I enjoyed that. And I also found it really easy. None of that feels easy now. I think compared to what I was doing in December, my ability is like 30% of it. So all I do now is I write the weekly texts. You handle emails, you handle everything for the White Pube, and then I've given the gallery over to Michael, who, and I feel like I'm waiting for someone to call like nepotism on that, but it's sort of an accessibility thing as well, because he's the person I see the most, so I can oversee what he's doing in the easiest way and with the most familiarity as well. I don't think I think it would take too much energy to be able to teach someone from, you know, the ground up to be able to manage any of that. So it's totally an accessibility thing. It's very, I feel like the need to like reintroduce myself to the world because so much has changed. And again, not wanting to put too much weight behind that because I don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I have a question.
Go on.
And I don't know if this is like a question you want to answer. Maybe like not on the podcast, but it's something I'm wondering, and it's like, and I mean this as broadly as possible as well, but like how, I feel like you have had such a stable relationship with your body. How has COVID changed the way you feel towards it? Like, you don't have to answer that because that's like
no, that's
quite personal,
it's a really good question. Do you know, so the other symptom that I've sort of not ever, I don't think I've mentioned this to you because I'm trying to deny it's happening because I also don't know if it is happening, is hair loss. So a symptom, it's not a listed symptom of COVID, it's a listed symptom that can happen after trauma, whereby the body itself, a few months after something has happened, it can happen with pregnancy, major surgery, and apparently COVID, the body goes into like lockdown itself and only does the things it really, really needs to do. And growing hair isn't one of those things. Now, I'm noticing that like the drain clogs more than usual. I'm noticing, like, even when I'm sitting down, like, more hair is, like, sort of coming out of my hands. And I don't know if it's hair loss or if it is the fact that because of the fatigue, I'm probably not washing and brushing my hair as much as I used to. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's just hair from that, but it is really making me start to feel a little bit worried. So things like that are stuff that I've just obviously never really thought about. I do feel like I've had a really stable relationship with my body, but in a way where, like, I've not really thought much about it at all because my body just sort of functioned, so it didn't need any attention. I've always had a good relationship with food, and I don't think that has really changed, but it's definitely been challenged because I can't taste food in the same way. Everything feels like it needs a lot of salt. It just, like, I got like an M&S meal deal food thing yesterday with, like, noodles and duck and, like, a chili garlic ginger sauce and loads of veg, and it tasted like nothing. And this is 3+ months after now, and it was so disappointing. So I was just sitting there, like, really eating out of, like, necessity, because I know I had to. I wasn't eating for joy. I wasn't eating because I love food. It felt like a wasted meal, even though it was a good, on paper it was a good meal. And that's just been really depressing. The food thing is being really strange. Like, again, to ask you a question, what's my relationship been like with Coca-Cola?
It's like, it's just like a part of you, I think. We've known each other for what, 7 years now? 7, 8 years? Ish, around there. And like, in the grand scheme of my life, like, my time not knowing you has been longer. But I cannot look at a can of Coke unrelated, unprompted, like, unprovoked, without thinking of you. I'm like, oh, that's Gab. Like, it conjures you. Like, you've overtaken Coke in my mind, and it's just these twin entities. It's not even like you drink loads of it. It's just, like, it's just always there.
I just love it. I
Yeah.
think it's the best drink. So, now, take this information. I've not had a can of Coke since the beginning of January.
Shut up. Really? Because, well, I guess you can't taste it. But do you not just have it out of habit?
No, because advice given to people with long COVID is that they shouldn't have caffeine. So when I first got sick, that very first week, I had a can of Coke twice, I think. First, because I wanted it, and I think I just drank it. I didn't really think about it, because at that point I didn't realise my taste was going. And then the day that my taste went, I opened a can of Coke and I tasted it, and it was like nothing. It was like bubbles. There was a physical feeling, but there was no taste. And I left it on the counter there all day, and at the end of the day I just poured it down the sink because I couldn't taste it. And then I learned, like, that you weren't allowed to have caffeine. That's fine, whatever. But since then, every so often I'll taste a little bit of Michael's drink, and it just tastes like so artificial. I'm getting this sense that now, and this isn't like blanket across the board, but when I taste things, I can taste like the constituent parts of it. I can't taste the overall flavour that it's like trying to achieve. So, for example, I had a packet of pickled onion Monster Munch, and it tasted like popcorn. Because I could taste the corn. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could, it's so strange.
Do you reckon it's that, like, because obviously, like, there are different taste buds. Like, you can taste salty, that's one receptor, then sweet is like another one. Do you reckon they're coming back, like, in phases?
Maybe
basically?
Maybe that's the case, yeah. So when I also tasted Fanta at one point, and it just tasted like chemicals. Coke is a little bit better. Coke's like less chemical-y, but because it's a taste that I know so well, I'm
It's just not
using
the
that
same.
as like a measure, and it's just not there yet. It's very, very
I hate that
strange.
for you.
It's
That's
all
actually
very strange.
Gab. That's the.
You're gonna cry.
That's no, honestly, because like I know all the rest of this stuff, and like, but that I think that's the one that's upset me the most.
I can't taste Coke.
Because like you. Like, you have nothing, like Ian Beale, I've got nothing left. Like, just like one thing. You don't have one thing, one Coke. But like you, as a, like, you know what I mean? Like, just fine. Have the rest. But like, come on. Like, come on. Like, just
It's
one
really
Coke.
not fair, is it? It's actually
That's
not
really
fair.
not fair.
So much of it is like that. So in terms of, yeah, that question of like, has my relationship with my body changed? I think definitely. I feel like all those things I sort of did on autopilot, I'm really just having to think about in a new way. And I the appetite thing is really big. Luckily, like, it doesn't feel like it's changed my eating habits. Like, I'm still eating and drinking and all that stuff, and it's just the joy's gone, and I can't wait for it. Hopefully, I'm sure it'll come back. Hopefully, it'll come back. And physically, like, I do really miss running. I miss exercise. Before COVID started and before the pandemic started, I was doing kung fu 2 times a week, and starting to just really fucking love it. Like, getting to a point where I was doing like flying jumps through the air, and my flexibility was amazing, and I felt strong, and I felt really like precise in my movements and my footwork, and all of the dance of that was just so enjoyable. I'm in a WhatsApp chat with my kung fu group, and they're starting to talk about, now things are opening up, should we start to practice in the park again, maybe outside? And I can't answer them because I'm like, guys, what would I say? Like, I can't walk up the stairs without getting upset. Like, I can't do any of it. And it's really difficult to see a roadmap back out of it all. Because I'm really cautious of like doing too much and pushing myself back further, and the implications that has for like when the pain is so bad that I then can't think, and then I can't do any writing, and then I can't do work. And yeah, it's very like tightrope to walk.
Yeah. I think as well, like, because exercise has got this like just any kind of exercise, it's got this like mentality or logic around it where it's like, it's gonna hurt, no pain, no gain, and like you gotta push through. Like, I mean, yeah, while that might motivate you just as a person, like, exercise, you know what I mean? Like, it might be maybe motivational, but like sometimes it's just like, that's not good for your body when you know what I mean? Like, you can't push through it. Like, and so how then is that meant to make you feel? Like, that takes like a mental toll as well as a physical toll, and like I just don't think any of that's helpful. Like,
Yeah,
I think it's like,
definitely.
yeah, it's just completely the wrong way to like go about easing back into things like that. And like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like, the whole exercise industrial complex, the gym industrial complex is like fucking toxic anyway. But
It is, but then there's that the fun of like having that routine and the achievements, personal achievements of like doing tan toy in Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. Like, I was so proud to complete that form. I was maybe like 2 weeks off doing my first belt, and then the pandemic hit and everything closed down, and now between like physical ability and mental ability, I can't even remember how to do it or what I would do, and that is so upsetting. there are so many values around long COVID that just aren't fixed, and it's so unfair. Like, it's so unstable. I don't know how long it is. I don't know how to treat it. I don't know how to get better. Every day feels different. There's no linear recovery, and if you do try and do too much, you're gonna make yourself worse.
Yeah.
Like, that's the picture of it. So I sort of feel stuck in this moment now, and in a way, it's not too bad of a moment, because what I get to do is the thing that I love, which is writing. I get to try and play video games and then try and write about them, and that's really nice. But even there, like, I feel like there's massive limits with that as well, because the process of writing is taking me twice as long. The video games I feel able to play are very limited. Like, there are massive open world role-playing games that require resource management and orienteering skills to, like, get through, and then the physical coordination of, like, a battle, and the speed and the pressure and, like, the anxiety that like the good adrenaline sort of anxiety that those situations can make you feel, that are fun. Like, that's what makes video games fun. I just don't feel like I'm up to it. I feel like it's so broad, and my brain feels so much more narrow. So I'm really limited in what I can do, and all of that is just so not who I have been. And that's what I'm trying to, like, sort of contend with every day.
Just, like, recalibrate yourself to this new, because, yeah, it's not just, like, the world that you're in, it's also, like, yeah, you and how much you're able to, like, how much of, like, the past self that you've been able to, like, I don't know, slide back into. No, not slide back into, but, like, how much of, like, your past self you've been able to carry with you, and, like, this actual trauma that your body's undergone has, like, of course, inevitably changed it, but, like, yeah, recalibrating yourself to those new, I don't know. Oh,
new parameters.
Yeah.
New parameters.
I just want to give you a hug. We never hug.
So strange. We never hug, Serena.
We've hugged, like, twice, and, like, I feel like I just want to give you a cuddle, because, like, it's just, you've, like, it's just not been fair, and, like, I don't know what to do as, like, this person that, like, exists, like, like, I'm like, the pandemic has made me your pen pal, like, your business pen pal, and and, like, I don't know what to do other than just be like, I want to give you a hug. Like, that feels like, I don't know, it would collapse the business pen pal into, like, like, that's not what business pen pals do. That's, like, a friend moment, you know? Like, I don't know what other gesture exists to be like, hello, I'm your friend and I love you, other than a hug.
I feel that, though. Like, you've taken on so much work, where I've just not been able to get to it. You're, like, buying me time to get better, which is amazing, because, like, there are plenty of people who get COVID and have to go back to work the next day, you know, as soon as their, like, sick leave is over, and they're ravaged by, like, the pressures of the state and the system and responsibilities. And there are people who get this way, but also have, like, care and responsibilities for other people or for their kids or whatever. And I'm in a really privileged position because I don't have any of that. I'm self-employed. You're my business pen pal. And you've been able to buy me time to get better, and it just really scares me again that other people don't get that. I can't believe there isn't, like, governmental sick pay for people who have long COVID. Like, it is really a fucking travesty. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The fact that there isn't sick pay for COVID itself, like, there is, but you have to jump through so many hoops, and basically you already have to be on benefits to be able to get it. But the fucking reality of it is I got sick on January 2nd, however many months after the COVID first hit this country, and the fact that the government was so stupid and unorganized and fucking like, as far as I'm concerned, they're literally murderers. I wouldn't have got it if they had their shit together. I wouldn't have got it so late in the game if they had their shit together. Why the fuck they removed responsibilities over Christmas astounds me, because that must, even though again I didn't break the rules, but I was still having to go to Tesco to get food. Like I must have touched something in the shop, or I must have touched a door handle on the way into my apartment building, and I don't think COVID would have been on that door handle or on that item in the shop if the government had their shit together. Like, I'm sick months after getting sick for the first time because of them. I absolutely hate Boris Johnson, like, so much, and every little idiot around him pisses me off so bad. Like, I'm literally sick right now. Like, I'm recording this podcast and I've got my legs crossed and my legs are killing because I've had them crossed for a while. And that hurts because of them.
Yeah, it's like a direct.
It's
like, it is a direct influence, and it's like you are directly affected by these bad decisions that these stupid men and like these very, very like incredibly like murderous people, like, because that's what you're right, it is murderous. They are literally murderers at this point. Like, you're directly affected by their bad decision making, and like, I feel like I know why you need to clarify that, like, you've followed the rules, because like it like the way that like public discourse around this has kind of been happening has been like so beneficial to them and like their bad decision making, because it's reduced, like, you know, you got COVID, oh well, did you follow the rules? Yes, of course I did, but like, you know, people still get it anyway. Like it kind of, but that's the way that public discourse has kind of been like conceptualizing it, like, oh well, only the people that don't follow the rules get COVID. Like if you you know, play the game right, if you're really good at following the rules like me, then, you know, you'll be fine. You should be fine. And it's like, yeah, you should be fine, but you're like, maybe you won't. Like, it's still spreading anyway. And it just, I think it's maddening, because as things are opening up now, right, there was that survey that someone did, I think a couple of days ago, and it was like, do you think that the British public will follow the, you know, will people take advantage or misbehave as like lockdown eases? And it's like, oh yeah, probably like, you know, people won't obey the rules, and like, you know, it probably will go west. What about you? Do you think you will follow the rules? Oh, absolutely. I will not be breaking any rules. Like, there is such like lack of faith in the public. It's been reduced to this like individual responsibility rather than like state responsibility, and like, it's not really on any of us and like our individual actions to like shoulder the burden of that responsibility for this like virus spreading. Like, surely that's on the government and the way they're they're in charge. I'm not in charge.
There's no consistency there at all. It just doesn't work out. It doesn't follow through. It's all bullshit. Yeah. It's all bullshit. And like, I am really glad that I've had the first vaccine. I do feel differently now when I leave the house. Feel safer, and the only fucking benefit of having had COVID so bad is that my antibodies will be high. And it means then that, like, you know, a lot of people say I will only need 1 dose of the vaccine to be fully vaccinated. I'm going to get 2. Just might as well if it's on offer. I will say I am absolutely shitting myself about getting the second one because of how sick the first one made me. And I don't say that to scare anyone off. I say that to long COVID sufferers in particular, to clear out your week just in case. I'm really scared to get that, but I'm worried about what's going to happen next, and I'm worried that the different countries that are advising against getting a vaccine, like the crazy man who runs Brazil, I'm really worried about the implications that's going to have on the rest of the world. Like, I just don't see COVID ending for years. Like, it's not going to. And as happy as I can as happy as I can feel about getting this one vaccine, it might mean in a year I have to get another COVID vaccine for more variants, and how sick these ones made me makes me so worried about having to go through this again and again because of the ineptitude of other governments as well as our own.
Yeah. I mean, they do say that, I don't know who says this, maybe this is just aphorism and like urban legend, but I keep hearing this. Everyone says that if you get knocked out by the first one, the second one won't be as bad, and if you don't get knocked out by the first one, the second one will be bad. I don't know if that's true, but
no, it's everyone gets it differently. Some people don't feel anything. I am just scared. I hate being sick. I've been sick for months now. I hate it so much.
I feel like when long COVID kind of, I don't even know, like if there is like a roadmap out of this, when you are, I feel like you deserve a fucking holiday. The first thing you should do is not get back to work. You should go to the fucking Maldives and like just like that's I think the first thing you should do. Post long COVID checklist for Gabrielle. Banana boat.
Yeah. I really don't want to be dramatic about all of this, even though maybe this has been a really dramatic episode. I can't tell anymore because this is just normal. But it, like, the fatigue and the cost of doing different activities that I then have to weigh up. Like, if this lasts for a long time, I'm gonna have to think about like whether or not I have children, or like, can I, in the past, one of my favorite things to do has been to travel to countries on my own and walk around all day doing things and eating food. Like, I couldn't do any of that right now. And will I be able to do that in the future? It's still early days. It really is still early days. But in the back of my mind, those are the thoughts that I have, because I miss the old way of life.
My chair is making so many fart noises as you were saying that really intense and like emotional thing.
Maybe we should give an ending to this podcast, but I don't know what the ending is.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't. Part of me is like, I don't want to give you, the listener, like a point of closure, a neat ending, because this hasn't been a neat kind of packaged, like, regular shape for you. So, like, how could we sit here and be like, and then she had a lung transplant and lived in the forest with the animals, and you know what I mean? Like, there's no happy ending, because like it's not like that's not, part of that would be reductionist, right? Like, or reductive. It would be like dishonest, I think, to be like,
it would be dishonest.
Neat ending. The ending is your body says, right, shut up, stop talking, that's the end of the podcast. Like, that's the ending. Bye.
It is.
Yeah.
God, wear a mask, guys.
Yeah. Stay away from each other.
Stay away from each other. Wash your hands. I don't know.
Kick Boris Johnson if you see
None
him.
of that worked for me, so I don't know why I'm advising it for anyone else.
That, yeah.
It's so depressing.
Don't vote Conservative next time, I think, is probably...
That's the answer, yeah.
Because,
that's the
like,
advice.
if we're going to offload responsibility onto individuals, it should be onto the fucking idiots that voted Tory.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for listening. And please stay safe.
Love you. Bye.
Right.